take you for your money and whatever else you bring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of the new. Can I break this spell?
There we go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of AstroWorld TV. I'm Dan Higgins, along with Eric and Jason, and we are excited to be with you again tonight. If you like what we're doing, if you don't like what we're doing, or if you know of something that could change the show or make a better topic or whatever, if you want something to discuss, let us know on the numerous social media platforms that we have. And remember, please subscribe to us on YouTube so you'll get the notifications when we go live and when we post other content. And again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for watching. Now on to the show. Tonight we are going to talk camera chip suitability and camera field of view when paired with certain telescopes. Now there's a bunch of software out there to help you, so let's look through a couple real quick. With that being said, let's give it to Eric, and we'll start with a rundown of astronomy.tools. How's it going, Eric?
Pretty good, bud. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. You know, same stuff, reading off the teleprompter. You know, I got my new toy.
Yeah, I see that, man. I'm looking forward to checking that out in a few.
I'm telling you, we will definitely check it out. For lack of time, I actually opened it a little bit already to get rid of the tape. So when we have time later on, we'll pop that open and we'll go over the differences between what's in here and what the U.S. gets.
Gotcha.
So
right,
what's this astronomy
share my
tool?
screen here? Let me know when you see my screen, guys.
Yes.
Awesome. So astronomy.tools is a website that was brought to us by First Light Optics. They are a astronomy and telescope company out of the UK. And this is a free service. These are free tools that we use to get the field of view for particular type of telescopes. They have lots of telescopes, cameras, binoculars, even for visual and different types of eyepieces. They have tons of calculators to help us make sure that we're matching the equipment that we have, if it matches, if it works, going to work properly, if we're going to have any type of issues. And it's really good, especially before you start buying things, to help match things up so you have a better comfort level knowing that the equipment that you're going to buy is going to work for you. So let's go over to, this is probably the most popular part of astronomy.tools is the field of view calculator. And they have 3 different modes. They have the visual mode for when you use eyepieces, the imaging mode for cameras, and the binocular mode. But let's hop over to the imaging mode. And you can choose different types of objects. You can choose objects out of the Messier catalog. If you're doing planetary, you can choose objects from out of our solar system, or you can actually search for from out of the NGC or the IC catalogs. I believe they also have the Sharpless 2 catalog. So there's several different catalogs that are already listed here, so you can get a good field of view or get an idea of what the field of view is for your particular telescope or camera. And it also puts in here if you're going to be using such as Barlow's, if you're going to be binning or anything like that, and it gives you a good idea of how the images will look. So let's go ahead and just take something simple here. Something we all know and love. We'll go take M42. And we'll take a particular camera telescope here. Let's just go ahead and we'll pick the RASA 8, for example. So it gives you the focal length and the aperture, and then you can go ahead and choose a particular camera or the particular camera that you're going to use with this. So you just simply go into cameras, and it has hundreds of cameras from different manufacturers, from QHY to LCs to CCD cameras, Altair Astros, ZWOs, even Nikon and Canon cameras and Sony's. So let's just go ahead and let's just choose a particular camera here. We'll just choose something pretty popular, the 294 MC. And simply you will go ahead and click Add to View. And now it gives you an image or an idea of what your field of view is going to look like using that particular scope and camera. So, but what if you want to get, maybe you have a different scope. So you can keep the same camera.
Actually, Eric, can you, while you got that up, can you use that same scope with a different camera first so you could show you different squares?
Yeah. So let's go use the same scope, but to go to a different camera. Let's go the newest one, the 533. And now you can even see, because of the different type of chip size that particular camera has, you're going to get a more narrow field of view.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great, and I know we actually hit on this a bunch of times, even in prior shows. We talk about it quite a bit on how to kind of pair, the scope with the camera.
The scope with the camera, exactly.
And, this is an awesome tool to see if you're going to get what you want, because what a lot of people don't do, from my experience, is that they say, I want the best of the best no matter what. So I'm going to get a 10-inch imaging astrograph, and I'm going to put an ASI 290 on it.
Well, let's hold on to that. Let's take a look at that, because there are calculators such as what they have here, the CCD calculator. And it is a great tool to use to figure out exactly what you were talking about. Say you have you want to get a particular type of camera, and a particular type of scope, how are they going to match up? Are they going to do well with one another? So you can simply go here to CCD calculators. Let's see. I'm sorry, CCD suitability. That's what you want.
Yeah, for the sampling, yes.
And this will give you basically, because it uses a formula, a resolution formula, which is pixel size divided by telescope focal length multiplied by 206.2635. So say if we take that same Celestron Rasa and we put it with what we just did, the 533. Now you can tell based off of the seeing, if it's green, you're good. You know, usually when it's green, you're good. Now, if you're doing wide field imaging, you may end up doing a little bit of undersampling, which is fine for doing wide field imaging. So let's just take the going from the Rasa here at 400. Let's hop on down to, say, the Red Cat, which is a 51 millimeter. So that has a 250 millimeter focal length. However, now you're getting undersampling, but it's very good if you're going to be using this for wide field. You guys are going to get the undersampling, but it's going to be fine because also you can probably also, when you're guiding, is do dithering. Because
you're going to have to. If you're undersampling by that much,
yep,
you're going to get these stars. And one of the ways that you could tell that you're undersampling, even if you didn't do this beforehand, do you have square stars?
Yeah, square stars.
You know, you're going to have squares. When you zoom in, all of a sudden, you're not going to have that nice roundish type. You'll still see some edging on it because pixels are square.
Yep.
But you know, you'll see a little bit more of a gradient kind of at the edges to make it look like it's circular.
Yep. Exactly.
But yeah. So, and if you're oversampling, then you got, you know, if you don't have an anti-blooming camera, which blooming means star spikes, pretty much where you're overflowing the well depth and it's spilling into other pixels, and you sit there and you'll start sitting there and you'll be oversampling at that point.
Right. Now, say for this particular camera and scope setup, this is using the Star 71 from William Optics. It's a refractor, and it's a 348 focal length. But you can see that undersampling has significantly decreased. So it's only slightly doing that. But as it says here, it's reducing the influence of guiding errors and improving your signal to noise ratio. So this is good for most deep space imaging purposes, right? Yep. So this would be, you know, a fine combination using this type of a camera with this particular type of a scope. And as I said, you have different types of tons of different types of optical tubes and scopes to choose from. And if yours isn't particularly in here, you can actually go into the custom scope and actually put, and if you know your focal length, you can go ahead and put that in there. So one of the scopes, or not actually a scope, it's a camera lens that I use. It's a Rokinon 135 millimeter. So if I put that in here, boom, it's going to shoot right off, you know, right off the rails. And yeah, I'm going to end up getting blocky stars. Doesn't matter, because of this type of lens, it's going to go, no matter what type of CCD camera I'm going to use, it's going to get, you know, it's going to be significantly undersampled. I mean, highly undersampled. Yeah, so you're doing such a wide field, you know, you have such a wide field of, you know, of view that you won't really notice, you know, those stars are going to be so tiny. Only when you really zoom in are those stars really, you're going to see the squareness or the blockiness of those stars.
Those pixel bums.
Yep.
those pixel bombers, man. Those guys will kill you.
Now, also, you have different other kinds of calculators here other than the CCD. You have the filter size calculator, which if you want to know if, say you want to make sure that you're not vignetting, okay, your images, and you have a 1 1/4 inch filter, you want to make sure that you're still okay. So perhaps, so then you would go ahead and you can enter in that information. such as, let's just go ahead and just grab the C11 here. And we can say we're going to use a 0.7 reducer, which is pretty common. And we're going to use the ASI 1600. Okay, so in millimeters, this is 24.8 millimeters, which is well in the range of 1¼ inches if you convert that. So that particular camera and that particular filter, in theory, you won't have to worry about, any type of vignetting using those particular types of filters. But I would probably personally, I would still use a 2-inch, but you can use a 1¼ according to this. Other pieces of, besides the calculators, and they have tons of them, such as for magnification, and we go back to field of view and even binocular calculators. Another really cool thing is the guide scope suitability calculator.
Yep.
If you go here and you want to be able to match up to make sure that your, say, 50 millimeter guide scope is going to work or with that RASA 8 or even a longer focal length telescope, you can plug that information here, okay? And it'll give you a guiding ratio, all right? The closer you are as far as that 1-to-1 number, your guiding should be decent, okay? You should have, usually if you get a little bit over, say 1-to-10, then you might be you should be a little bit concerned. But if you're down to say like 1-to-3, 1-to-4, things like that area, you're usually fine, okay? So why don't we go ahead and we can pop something like that in here. So let's go with something different. Let's go with the Explore Scientific series. We'll go with the 127. And we're going to use with that one, so let's just throw something out here. I don't know QHY very well, but let's just go with the QHY6.
Probably not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea? All right. Give me
163 or something.
Say what? Say again?
Try a 163 or 168.
Let's see. They've got it here.
What you got there?
QHY 5, 8. Hit the 162, the 12.
That's a 16. Yeah, do that one. That's fine.
Okay. Now, what kind of scope are you going to have? So say if you
wait. Oh, okay, my bad. I thought you had a 127 millimeter guide scope.
No. So let's say if we're going to go with a William Optics guide scope, because I know that's down here, and that's a 50 millimeter guide scope, has a focal length of 200, and we're going to go with a pretty common guide scope camera. I'm going to say the 290 is pretty common. Look at that. So your imaging to guiding ratio is at a 1-to-2.3, which is perfectly fine for guiding with this particular type of a setup. So this will give you a really good idea. And if you don't, and if this particular, your guide scope is not listed, if you know the focal length, you can go ahead and put that in there just by manually just choose just go ahead and choose custom scope. And by the way, if your equipment is not in here, you can simply click on the add new equipment to the database, and because they're updating this all the time, and submit your equipment to FLO. And in the next release, you never know, your information that you contributed could show up on their website.
That is all. I love this site. Astronomy.tools is probably one of the most used ones, at least in the US.
Yeah.
For this type of information, as far as either especially the CCD suitability and the field of view stuff.
Yep.
I mean, again, that's what a lot of people, people sit there and they'll sit there and they'll buy an 8-inch Schmidt with no reducer or a 10-inch Schmidt with no reducer and expect to fit the Andromeda Galaxy on their chip. And then when they take a picture, all you get is the core.
Yep.
And, that's one of the things that a lot of people need to kind of take into consideration of when they're especially when they're starting to purchase stuff like this and making the big dent in your pocketbook, and you're spending $3,000-4,000 on something. You want it to work the way you want it to work, and this is a way to kind of find out the information you need.
Exactly. Now they also have star charts, so you can plug in your address or even if you know your latitude and longitude.
Even if you don't know your address.
Yes. You can put that information in here, and it can tell you what is basically in your night sky. A great tool also is the cloud forecast, which is actually a link over to Clear Nights, Clear Outside.
Is it? Oh, okay. There you go.
So this way you can
know that actually.
For your particular for your night, how things are going to look, and it has up to a week's worth of information here. So over here in the UK, I would expect to be in the UK, pretty cloudy. It's always tough to image, over there in the UK.
Yeah, they had a bunch of,
because right now they have some clear nights. It looks like possibly.
Yeah.
So it looks like they could be having some pretty good days right now, and you can even center it on the midnight, which gives you a much better idea, so you can focus actually on the nighttime sky.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Have you looked at Telescopius?
I have used Telescopius like crazy. When I first got started, I used astronomy.tools, and I still use it, but my main go-to now is Telescopius. And if we wanted to take a really quick look at Telescopius, we can, and which is really awesome. So let's go here, because it's a planner. It does a lot of great stuff for you.
Yeah, we actually went over this a little bit last week. Not about this stuff, but as far as the Planetarium software and how to kind of frame again your object.
Yep.
I mean, it's a really cool tool to use. It really is.
It's a really great tool to use. This can give you, you can put in your parameters for what's in your area, because you can sign up through, a Facebook account, you can sign up through a Google account, or you can sign up with your own account and put in your own information. You can put in your equipment into here. I believe it's, you can set up your own observing list for planning, which is awesome. You can upload, just like with, say, Astroband, here you can also upload your images into here. So, for example, if I wanted to, I can choose different object types. So for me right now, I've been hunting for going through the Lens Dark Nebula catalog. So I can look for dark nebula. So I can actually go there, choose a particular target. Let's just take the Dark Wolf Nebula. Yep. And I actually you can enter in your data, and then you would choose, I have all of my scopes here. So you can go to add and remove your telescopes. So here I have my entire list of all of my equipment.
It's a lot of equipment, man.
So you have a crazy amount of equipment. So you can go to filters, what you're using for software, all that stuff, because a lot of it's just like Astroband.
Yep.
And then you put in that information, and you can choose your scope, your camera. If you're going to do a mosaic, which is fantastic, you can put in the grid size of that mosaic that you're going to do. So let's say, for example, you're going to do a 2x2. All right. And it gives you an idea with that particular setup what you're going to have to do. And it'll even show you the coordinates. So you can put this information, you can copy this information, put it into SGP. Right? You can put this information in SGP. You can save it yourself to plug it in and just take notes of this. So you can, if you're using a ASI Air or anything like that, and you want to use Sky Safari, you can plug that. Because you can enter in your RA and deck into Sky Safari and do a go-to that way. If you use ASI Air or anything like that, or Starry Nights, and you can get this information, and then you can start imaging. So there's lots of different things you can do with this particular setup. And this even uses hosted sites as well. Like iTelescope, the observatory, and remote skies. So this one is also, it's a great planner. It's a great field of view calculator and gives you lots of information. And it also, just like Astrobin, this gives you an opportunity to upload your photography and your images into, Telescopius. And the great thing about this is it's free.
That's awesome.
It's free. And you can even get a good idea of where, as far as how many, as far as how high in the sky in your area it's going to be. So like say the Dark Wolf Nebula, it's not going to get any higher than 13 degrees for me, which is way too low for at least for where I'm living at, or in my area right now.
Yeah, it's too low for me too.
Yeah. So it's awesome, but you can see this stuff in Stellarium. You can, like I said, you can set up your own imaging toolbox with your own targets and things like that. So you can do all of your planning, which is really fantastic. I really like Telescopius. I
could tell.
But yeah, but even here, like I said, you can go to cloudy, clear outside, get to know what, the weather's going to be like. So that's really cool with astronomy tools. And you can even look up your coordinates. If you don't know what your latitude or longitude is, you can actually type in your address and it'll give you that latitude and longitude information that you can plug into your phone or into your hand controller, anything like that that's necessary that needs that information. So astronomy tools, it's free, just like Telescopius. And this was, when I got started, this was the go-to site for me. So I would highly recommend this to anybody. And I'm sure a lot of imagers still use this, site to this, consistently, because it is really, really a fantastic site to use.
Yeah. I constantly use it as well. I do work at a telescope store 1 day a week. And a lot of people come into the store and say, hey, this is my budget. What can I get? And what do you want to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to do? You're not going to get Hubble Space Telescope pics in your first week out. It's not going to happen.
No. And I would, this is just me. If I was working at a telescope store, anything like that, I would refer them to astronomy tools, first, to say, okay, fantastic. I really want to help you, but what do you want to image? Are you thinking you want to image more planetary, or do you want to go after the big stuff? Do you want to go after deep sky images and things like that? So, if you have that information, I would say before you really decide on a particular type of scope or camera or anything like that, go onto this website. It's free. Take a look at the sites or the areas of the sky that you're interested in. And that way you can then now start playing around with this and make a better, smarter decision on what kind of scope and camera you want to make, you want to make that initial investment in, because this isn't necessarily a cheap hobby, no. So make the right decision so you don't have buyer's remorse and end up having to sell, that, 14-inch SCT that gives you too much of a narrow field of view, on the first time out, and now you got to sell that sucker on cloudy nights.
yeah, because it's not getting what you want.
A tractor or something.
Well, and that's kind of one of the things that I've been kind of working through. Of course, only being in this for about a year and a half, I've spent a fair amount of time. I started with the Red Cat. With my DSLR attached, and have made all those upgrades, and I've gotten into a really good scope setup now with my Explore Scientific 102 ED. I just, I love the Red Cat. It was a great product. Eventually I did put a ASI Air 533 on it, got amazing photos out of it, and then it's like, okay, well, I just need more reach. So then that's where AstroTools really played an integral part in kind of playing with the different scopes and figuring out, just because it says 102, I mean, there's 5 or 6 different focal lengths on 102 scopes. It's just on kind of how they set them up. So it really made a huge difference. And even looking at like a 102 versus a 127 or 115, it was amazing how much focal length difference each of those different scopes had. And astronomy.tools and Telescopius were both very integral in kind of helping make those decisions. Initially, I was headed towards an Eon 115. But a few people rather quickly talked me out of it, saying, it's a good scope, but it's not really where you're going to want to be. So they kind of led me back towards the Explore Scientific. It was kind of between that and the Skywatcher. But I've got a buddy with a Skywatcher. I don't need to mirror everything he's doing. I kind of wanted to be a little bit different. I wanted that carbon fiber. But again, that's the type of things that I was able to take and use those tools that really helped shape that mindset for me. So, exactly to what you're speaking to, it definitely saved me a lot of money and growing pains in an already expensive hobby.
Because I'm looking right now. I've been looking for the better part of the year. I have mostly, with the exception of the 127 I have mostly wide field scopes. So I want to have something, primarily for narrow and galaxy season. I've got the 127, which works fine for galaxy season, but I want something a bit more narrow. So I've been looking at the RCs, the Ritchie Cretons or Cretons. So I've been looking at those. And then you brought out, you shot that message over to me and Jason, and you put it on AstroWorld on Facebook about those CDKs.
Yeah, the corrected dot curtains, man. Yeah, those are really an interesting design. It's really interesting how they do that, and it's expensive as hell.
Yeah,
but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
And so that's why, and I'm using astronomy.tools, and I use Telescopius to get those, and I plug that information in to decide, okay, what type of, if I'm going to go after an RC, am I just going to go ahead and get a budget 6-inch RC or an 8-inch RC, or do I want to go ahead and get the truss, the fiber truss type, with the 12 or the 14s, and say, okay, that is what I actually want to get. Because I really want to go deep into and get that narrow field for those really awesome shots of galaxies and stuff like that.
Just talk to your wife. Cool. Just like I told you to do with the 533. It's just a little bit more. You go out and you if she sees a $10,000 bill for plain white wave, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Dan told you to do it. It's fine.
And not that this is marriage advice by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no, I am not a marriage.
But I kind of played along the same lines.
Everybody coming crashing with you.
But that's the same type of thing that I went through with my setups, because I got in fairly late in the game, so I've only been in this for a year and a half. I started with the 533. That was my first imaging camera. It just came to the market. So
I started with a Minolta Maxim 35 millimeter. You guys are so spoiled. I swear to God. I swear to God.
I went from that to the ASI 2600. I was on the fence when I got my 533 because it was a brand new product. Thank you, honey. Okay. Yep. It was a brand new product, and it was a lot of fun. But I was worried about whether or not the 533 was going to be the right decision, being a square format and things like that. And that's where I got into the astronomy.tools. And, my buddy went with the ASI 293, and I decided to go the 533 route. And not that it was any better or different. I like the idea of the no amp glow. I know you can get it out with doing your calibration frames, but man, it was such a cool camera, and it did so much with being cooled. It had that no amp glow. It was amazing QE efficiency. It's a phenomenal camera. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know what? Having a square sensor. Oh my God! I so want a square sensor. I'm telling you, there's almost no, you have a little rotation issue sometimes if you're doing night to night and whatever, but there's really no, you don't have to worry about sides or anything. You don't have to worry about stuff. It's great. Well, I love it. I gotta say, Eric, I love your shirt.
Huh?
I wish I had a wider field of view on my shirt, because just so you know, I bought a bigger green screen. Durfurk. Durfurk. I love it. I love that guy. That guy's great. I got the what do I got? I got the Shop Smart, Shop S Smart.
You got the Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead sheet shirt.
Hi, my name is Ash.
The Dead.
Anyway.
But, you know, that was one of the cool things, too, is, you know, I made the jump from the 533 straight up to the 2600, which was a huge jump. But the thing that was killing me and why I made the jump is it was roughly the same price of what I was looking at going maybe to like the 1600 and going mono. Financially, didn't want to go down that rabbit hole because I'm not ready to spend all the money in filters and filter wheels and all the extra processing and imaging time. So I stayed one-shot color. I went to the 2600 because I wanted that I'm so used to video because that's my background. I like that 16:9-ish kind of frame.
I got you.
So I wanted that little bit wider field. So that's why I ended up with the 2600 APS-C. And I'm blown away. You know, they're a great pairing. They work really well together. And what I was having my wife bring up was the ASCAR and its full glory with all the crap strapped on it. So, you know, I've got all my cables all tied up, so it's a little bit cleaner. But, you know, I've got the EAF on there.
Yep.
I put the ASIR Pro, and I got it all loomed up and pretty. I'm going to replace the scope here shortly. I'm going to use the same scope. I'm just going to change out the mount a bit.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm still trying to find some time to get my review and stuff done of that. Finally got a couple images, which I shared with you guys and did a quick post on my Facebook page with the North American Nebula and Pelican Nebula.
Yep.
I'm just blown away at using all these tools, being able to decide that this was a good platform.
Yep.
So, you know, it's been a great learning curve, especially with the new hardware.
I'd love to know if anybody has taken the deep dive and got a 6200.
Actually, Mark did. Mark
Ellis.
Mark Ellis. Yep, he bought the 6200 and the QHY 600.
Oh, yeah, he got the 600. Unbelievable camera, man. That thing is sick. The quantum efficiency is on that like 85% or 84%.
Yeah, so with the QHY, he went mono, and with the 6200, he ended up going one-shot color. So that way he has roughly the same resolution because it's the same sensor.
Yeah,
and he'll have the mono on one side and the color on the other. So I'm really looking forward to once he gets everything set up, kind of what he's getting with that. You know, he's still working through a few issues with
chroma.
I think we got that kind of ironed out.
Chromass. Whoops.
But you know, there's just a few growing pains with adopting, especially such a bleeding edge technology. And the one thing that he's finding is there's just not a ton of supporting hardware for full frame. Because it's so new. There's just the prevalence isn't there. So that's one of the big hurdles he's fighting right now is he hasn't taken an image with either of them because he can't get a filter on it.
But by the way, he said he tried to talk you into a Skywatcher, and I got to tell you, Mark, you didn't try hard enough.
He tried. He honestly did. And I was on the fence. But the big thing for me is, like, he already has it. So why have a duplicate of what he's already got? I want it to be just a little bit different.
Here's why. I'll tell you why. He's got a color camera. You get a mono camera. You do all the mono stuff. He does RGB. You got RGB stars and narrowband. You slam them together in half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But, you know, it's the same thing, you know, because I'm primarily shooting one-shot color, or exclusively shooting one-shot color. You know, your video the other day, Eric, with doing the false RGB, separating the HA and the O2 S3.
Yep.
That's something I really want to play with because that's one of the things I struggle with, like with the North American Nebula and the Pelican Nebula I put up. There's so damn much red when I'm shooting with my L-enhanced.
Yep.
I can't get it where I feel good because I'm getting a lot of hot red pixels and pixel noise, and even though I'm stacking 120 images and it's supposed to get rid of most of it, I still have all these little finite little red speckles in the heavy star detail, especially around the North American Nebula and just above it. It's just so thick with star field that it's really hard to get that to separate out. So I think if I spend a little bit of time and split those out, which is what I hope to do in some free time if I ever get it, and try playing with some of that. So I'm going to be looking at your video and trying to find a few more to kind of help get my mind wrapped around it a little bit more.
There you go. No, thanks, man. And that was a fun video to make. And again, guys, for all of the positive feedback and all that stuff too. So Hope you're making more of those for AstroWorld TV and even for my own stuff. So no, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff, man. That was really, really good. Well done.
Thanks. I'm slowly improving.
Hey, you know what? It takes time.
It does. It takes time.
It's a heck of a learning curve, and I give you a lot of credit because you're just getting into this, but I think that you've picked a good platform, and you can even see between your first unboxing video and what you just posted. You're definitely getting a much more bigger groove in what you're doing and kind of figuring out the cadence a little bit more. So
yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Marked improvement.
Yeah.
But it was fun seeing that come up.
I got it in landscape.
Yeah, that's the best. There you go. You don't look like a TikTok video no more.
The video engineer in me just like, what is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm going to show you something real quick. And again, this is a really, really, really crappy photo, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. And this is something that I took with the 200L lens. And you said there was a lot of stars in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And NGC 7000, the North American. And again, this is only ABE, so this is very, very garbage processing. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Here we go. There you go. So that's how many stars are in that field.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And this was taken in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That
is a big field.
Yeah, it was amazing just seeing the difference between the North American and Pelican. They're right there on top of each other. You got it like this. It was, night and day.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do on this photo, but whatever you're gonna do, but I need a lot of stuff going on.
You know what the biggest thing is sometimes with the wide field shots, and you have such an incredible star field where it's that I won't say cluttered, but you've got that many stars out there.
Yeah,
trying to get the background.
Oh, forget it. There's no background.
Trying to get the background. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like you're shining video lights on the background. That's what it is. You got like, I don't know, maybe like 7 samples for ABE. That's it.
That is the only. I love wide fields. Probably one of my favorite formats to do, especially using that 135 and the white cat, using those.
Yep.
Super short focal length, but man, those star fields and trying to get that background calibrated is a bear.
Oh, yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. You're zooming in like crazy just to find some background.
Yes,
but
well, and
it's like you look up and you're like, nah, there's not that many stars out there, but you take that picture, you're like, crap.
Well, until you take a photo, yeah, absolutely, and then you're like, where'd all that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so my dad served in the Navy during Vietnam on board a destroyer, and he came out to visit me a couple years ago, and I took him out into Queens Valley. It's about 45 minutes to the east of where I live. Took him out there.
I thought you said Queen.
No, not Queens. But took him out into Queens Valley, which is like a Bortle 4 area. And he was amazed at how much we were shooting the Milky Way with a DSLR, just tripods. A couple of my buddies met up and we went out together. He's sitting there in a chair just drinking his ice water and just relaxing, and he sat there and watched me process after we got home, and I'm stacking the 100 images or whatever I took that night and showing him how I'm pulling all the color out of the Milky Way. And he was just blown away. He's like, how did your camera see all those stars? I said, well, it's got considerably better optics than I do. But, part of it's the seeing of where we're at. And he's like, yeah, well, I was on a ship out in the middle of the ocean and couldn't see. We could see the cloud, but you couldn't see all that detail. I says, well, that's where digital's really shined and taken us to a whole new level. So he had me send a RAW, send just a single image, slightly processed, and then the stacked, and he's showing all of his friends on his phone, and he was really psyched about it. It's kind of cool.
It is. That is cool. That is cool.
But I was hanging out with Mark and a couple of the friends that I have here that I've made that got me into the Astro side and have kind of fed that hunger. So it's been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're in a great spot being there in Arizona, man. You know, in Arizona, New Mexico, out, you know, in the Southwest, that's some prime stuff. If you know, unless you have millions of bucks and can live in Hawaii and you're over there and, you know, on the Big Island, you know, where all those observatories are and stuff, you know, you're in a prime spot, man, because there's lots of observatories over there in your area and stuff too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of private observatories. You know, we've got the big one up north in Flagstaff, and we've got another large one down in Tucson that was just threatened with a fire that luckily got put out a week and a half ago. The fire, I mean, it ran right up to it. Thank God they were able to save the buildings and not.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week.
So, you know, so far so good. But, you know, it is really cool being here and having the exposure to these things that we don't normally get in other places. You know, growing up in Michigan, there's observatories, but, you know, it's way the heck up north from where I lived.
Sure.
And wasn't something that got frequented as I was as my youth, getting much time up there. So.
One thing that talking about the observatories, I'm actually reading in the newest edition. I just got this in the mail today of astronomy. They're talking about how the larger observatories, the university type observatories, these larger scientific observatories, how they're being affected by COVID, and a lot of them are shut down because of COVID. And some of them are really, there really has been some concern about, are they going to be able to reopen, you know, because of funding and this, that, and the other. It's really sad, you know, it's sad to see, you know, what's happening because of this pandemic, and how now it's affecting astronomers and, you know, and us, you know, in the things that we do and enjoy watching and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just, you know, it's just something sad to see, because I'm reading here how so many observatories in Arizona and New Mexico are closing or are closed, and they've been closed since, like, say, February, March, because of all of this. So, you know, it's affecting everybody in different ways. So, yeah.
Well, and there's kind of a flip side to that too, because one of the early things when the entire country shut down, you know, most of the world shut down, one of the comments that was really going around was the fact that the seeing was better because there wasn't as much smog, there wasn't as much particulate in the air. So a lot of the astrophotographers are like, this is great. I'm home, I can play with my gear, and it's clear skies. This is amazing.
I know.
Unbelievable.
And then we got kind of the flip side of that, because as we kind of turned back on, now we got all the dust back, and like what we're fighting here is we can pop in a new wildland fire every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a big one that unfortunately we just lost a firefighter yesterday. He crashed his helicopter. He was fighting, I think it's up to like 10,000 acres up north of Prescott, which is about 2 hours north of me. And he was dropping supplies. Still don't know what happened, but the chopper went down. He went with it. He was the only one on board.
No. That's horrible.
You know, it's the consequences of that, you know, with the light pollution from the fires, first of all, but all the smoke has severely inhibited a lot of the viewing out here.
I'm sure.
You know, it's 108 or 112 today, so it's it'll be midnight before I get cool enough to go out and turn the scope on and get it cooling, because I'll never get it down to negative 10°C. I'll be lucky if I can get it to 0. With the heat that we've got going on right now.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. All right. So as far as the other, we're going to look at Blackwater for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll do a little bit on Blackwater. And for those of you guys or people that don't know what Blackwater Skies is, Blackwater Skies is, believe it or not, it's a little secret in the United States. But outside the United States, it's very widely used. And it's very similar to AstroTools as far as grabbing your image and seeing what chip and what scope will fit your image. So if I could just, where is this? Share my screen here. And we'll just do that. And we'll do this. And here's Blackwater Skies. So this is how it's going to look when you pop on up the screen. It's automatically for me. It is. I tried it 4 times and it automatically went to the horse head nebula.
Hey Dan, I got your other camera.
But
I have your other camera.
What's that?
I have your other camera, not your screen.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, hi. Sorry.
A little magic behind the scenes there.
Outside of my house. That's the dirty side of the house. Not allowed to see it. Now you can see it, right?
Yep, there you go.
There we go. Okay, so this is Blackwater Skies. And one of the things I actually like about Blackwater Skies is everything is like color, which is great. So by the same token, as far as astronomy tools, the astronomy tools gives you a lot more information than Blackwater Skies does. But Blackwater Skies is a little bit pretty, and you can do a couple of things as far as rotation is concerned. I'll show you that in a little bit. So for the imaging toolbox, which is again right here, imaging toolbox, and you click on the camera, and again, by the same way that you did in astronomy tools, is you could put in whatever camera and whatever scope it is. Now, just so you know, it automatically gives you a Barlow reducer here. And even though you're not using a Barlow reducer, you need to have a value in there. Okay, it's got to be 1. Okay, so that's your native thing, is 1, because you can't put none. So I tried to do 0 and it wouldn't calculate anything. So let's say we'll just use my camera, for instance, and I have an S-Big 8300. And I saw S-Big somewhere. Where is it? 8300. And I have the Skywatcher 80 Esprit. And we're going to use that at 1:1. And you'll see the focal length will change to 400. And you hit calculate. And so this is what is going to be shown on my chip with my scope. And the thing that's kind of cool about this is you got these buttons down here where you could actually start rotating things a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can kind of see. Now, this is how I have mine framed. I have it framed this way.
Okay.
And so you know, and you can change it any way you want. You can move it right or left, up or down, whatever you want to do. So you could actually sit there, and you could actually import this stuff too as well to SGP, just like just like Scopius did.
Yeah.
Again, same way. These are all different types of ways you can calculate your pixel size and your image scale.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know your pixel size, you can calculate it that way. If you want chip size, you can do it that way. And then if you want, you could do the mosaic as well. So let's say I wanted a different image. Let's say I wanted to do M1. Go to M1. Okay. And then you go back to the camera. Boom, boom, boom. Calculate. And there, I did calculate, but it's covering up because it's so small.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So there's M1 over the crosshairs. Now, if I were to change this to, let's say, a 120 and calculate that, there you go. So now we're talking here. So maybe a little bit.
Catalogs, Blackwater Skies carries.
It pretty much will carry anything you want. All you gotta do is put in whatever image in there.
Okay.
So you can actually browse certain images.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I wanted a globular cluster, there you go. C6. Well, that's a really tiny one. That's Caldwell 66. That's really small. But let's see. This is all Caldwell galaxies. It looks like Caldwell images here. Yeah, this is all Caldwell. That's Caldwell 17.
Hey Dan, can you hit F11? It should take you full screen.
Oh yeah, sorry. There you go.
There you go.
And let's see. I lost my keyboard though. So let's say, just like we were talking about M31, let's say. M31 on my camera and that 120 will not fit the entire galaxy of M31, and it won't even fit M110. However, if I go back to my 80, and where is it? Spree 80, and calculate that, now I could fit just about the whole thing. I'm still missing some stuff, but I could kind of
rotate it. Yeah, but
rotate it like that.
Yep.
Maybe even a little more if you want to. But you can rotate it. Now, again, you're going to have to sit there. If you don't have a rotator, you'll have to rotate the camera manually. And then, who is it, ZWO or William Optics? Sells a really good manual rotator, I think, right?
Yeah, William Optics.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go that route. I'm going to have to get one of those.
I've got the William Optics on my 102, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's made framing so much easier because I don't have an auto rotator.
Well, I took mine off, and I'm selling it. But I took mine off just for the sole fact that, you know what, I'm done with the rotator. I'm done with the whole. It was like a fad. It was buying your first pair of Uggs, So, it's kind of like one of those things where you got one because it was cool, and it was definitely convenient for a while, but it added too much issues than what it was worth, to be honest with you. So I took it off my rig, and now I'm working on an off-axis guider and instead of a guide scope. So I'm changing some stuff on my rig. You can turn on and off. Oh, there you go. There's a full screen. That's what I was looking for. You can turn on and off the grid. Where is it? I lost it. You could actually put in different coordinates. If you know the right ascension declination, you could put those in there, or you could share it. You could create a link, you could save it, or you could export it as a PNG.
Nice.
So that's kind of pretty cool, just to do. I like the fact that it's all color, to be honest with you. And that's all there is to Blackwater Skies.
Well,
that's really true. It's not as in depth as far as astronomy tools with a wealth of information, but if you want something that's just for framing,
yeah, it's actually a really powerful tool. It's kind of cool. I'll have to add that to my shortcuts.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. But no, this is really cool.
Mark Ellis said, "Get a Nightcrawler." Thanks, Mark. Jeez, hey, there's one in every crowd. I'm telling you. There's 9 people watching us, and I got a tough room already. What the hell? So that's it with Blackwater Skies. I mean, those 2 tools will definitely get you any information that you want. I mean, astronomy.tools is definitely the way to go as far as a wealth of information is concerned.
Yeah.
As far I mean, there's just so much stuff on there that you're never going to use it all. And there we go. All right. So we got astronomy.tools. We got I just want to set the record straight real quick. I got to do it. I put a post on Tuesday about the Sharp Star. And the one that you saw about Sharp Star, the ASCARs and all that. I am not a Sharp Star salesperson. I am not a sales rep. I do work for Camera Concepts 1 day a week. I'm not forcing any. There's only 2 of us that are selling this. It's us and Agena. But I'm not trying to push a sale. I don't care about that stuff. I care about getting information to everybody. And Eric, you're way out of focus, dude. Get off that autofocus, bro.
Oh, good Lord. Am I on autofocus? Gracious.
But I just wanted to set the right. I'm not like that. This is not about making money. This is about getting information out there. I appreciate all the comments, all you guys that have asked information about it. But I'm going to stay away from product placement from now on. I'll tell you that.
But it does. CDK looks pretty darn cool, though. It's interesting.
It really does. And I really did. I wasn't trying to push anything, but I really did hear a lot about it. Not only from Simon Lewis, Jason, who's been talking all night, just bought one and just showed us his. And I know about 4 other people that have gotten them. These things are flying off the shelves. I swear, I'm not even joking. It's just a new product. And if you don't know Sharp Star, take a look at them because they've been supplying some of your name brand telescopes with telescopes. So Just take a look at them because they're decent.
And I'll be honest.
OEM?
What's that?
Have they been more like an OEM for a while?
Yeah, well, they used to be. Now they're going on their own.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I even knew about him was Simon was talking about it and kind of hinted at it when he was on the show, and then he and I talk offline quite a bit. He was like, dude, you've got to see this, and he was sending me some of the images. I'm like, holy crap.
They're awesome.
You know, and you know, I love my Space Cat. The thing's been phenomenal.
Sure.
My God, it blows it out of the water.
Oh, when you get a quintuplet against what is it, a triplet?
5.
It's 5.
No, what's the red cat?
Oh, the red cat is a quad.
It's a quad?
Yeah.
It's a Petzl. Yeah, it's a Petzl.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a Petzl. Yeah, so it's a quad.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I initially bought it, because you know, everything else in that price point was doublets.
Yeah, I was in the middle of. I was kind of between the camera lens, the 200L, and a red cat. I was kind of going back and forth, doing the pros and the cons of both. And I said to Howard that I just went with I thought that there was going to be more correction with the camera lens as far as color aberration is concerned, but then I'm thinking it's all wide field.
Well, and all of the imaging, not all, majority of the imaging glass is not calibrated to what we're doing, because it's not looking at that finite of a detail. You know, most of them are set up for portraiture. So a little bit of aberration in the corners, no big deal, because nobody's going to see it until you start pixel peeping. But when you're dealing with little itty-bitty points of light, it's amazing how bad some of these extremely high-end pieces of glass are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And then you get cheap pieces of glass, you know, like the Rokinons, you know, manual everything. But my God, are they sharp. But they focused on this niche of the market. So it made a big difference.
You know, the Rokinon 135 that Eric's been shooting with, and you know, I've seen pictures all over the place with the Rokinons, and for what it's worth, for what you're paying for, I mean,
they're inexpensive.
Yeah,
just under $300, I think.
Yeah, I mean the Canon 200L was what, 800, 750, something like that. You know, I mean, it's the price of a red cat. You know, but It's interesting. I wonder if we got any comments going on, because I haven't really been looking.
I haven't really messed with my white cat since I've got the Rokinon. I really haven't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's only 100 millimeter difference. I mean,
I really haven't messed with it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at with getting this ASCAR and kind of falling head over heels for it. I'm actually looking at probably putting up my Space Cat, just because it's been sitting on the shelf since I got my 102.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I wanted the reach. But now I'm finding that, you know, having the 400 millimeter and the 280 with the reducer in there, it's a hard combo to beat, and it gives me a lot more versatility. You know, it's slightly bigger, a little bit heavier, but overall, I mean, it's a really good package, and it puts me right about where you're at with the 80. You know, in focal length, and you know, with a little bit faster glass and a little bit more element, you know, the 2 extra elements.
Yeah, it puts you right there. I mean, I'm at 400 with my 80, so.
Yeah. So I mean, it puts me in the same spot, and it's a really good platform.
Mark said he has a 24 Rokinon, and it's awesome for wide field.
Oh, 24 millimeter, I bet it is.
That's humongous. You're getting the whole Milky Way with that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually part of why we got it, because he and I went back and forth. I've actually got we both have the 15 to 30 Tamron G2.
Okay.
You know, and again, it was just trying to get really big, as much chunk of the Milky Way as we could, and still get a little bit of landscape in there, and be able to get a little foreground depth and whatnot. They're great lenses, and you know, the Rokinons, of course, being considerably cheaper, but the Tamrons are not terribly high priced for what they are, and they're sharp. You know, and it's been a really fun traveling glass too for doing like walking portraiture and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's just heavy. It's a big piece of glass.
Yeah, because I use a Rokinon with that's my travel setup. You know, I used to use the White Cat, but that's my travel setup. It's so easy because it's so much easier to pack all that stuff.
Yep.
I pack it in my travel bag, and I use the AVX for my travel mount, that I take it up to my camper, and it's just an easier, it's just a lighter, easier setup just to go with, so.
Well, that's kind of what I'm looking at the ASCAR for. That's going to be kind of my portable unit, but it's also be able to hopefully eventually get another mount and be able to set it up, get it imaging a little bit larger target, and then focus on a tighter, smaller target with the 102.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that way I can have twice the amount of data to have to process that I don't have time for.
Yeah, exactly. It's same thing as what I'm doing with the EQ6 on the pier. If that ever gets finished, we'll put the what?
You're still not done with that,
dude? I'm waiting on the pier plate. It's been 5.5 weeks. It's driving me nuts. I'm not going to mention names, but you know what? They've had it since the last week in May. Last week in May.
Do I have to drive over there?
Please, you're right there, man. Just knock on his freaking door. Say, yo, come on.
Get that plate.
I know. Listen, I know I was a little bit of a jerk. I made him change. In all fairness, I made him change a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh.
So in all fairness, I don't want to say that I'm just waiting on a pier plate. I had him shave the bolts halfway. I had him offset the azimuth by about 10 degrees because my pier needs to be turned a little bit. But the concrete block wasn't exactly the way I wanted it turned. So whatever. So he's done the right thing, and I'm sure he's doing the right thing, and I'm sure he's going to give me an awesome product. So I'm really not worried about it. It's just taking a little bit longer, and it's a little annoying, because I would like it up before Thanksgiving. That'd be nice.
Done.
If you give him that type of deadline, of course you get it before Thanksgiving. If you can put it off that far.
Well, no. See, my whole thing is, set the goal far away so I don't get disappointed.
Well, yeah, that's sales 101. Under promise, over deliver.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you know what? Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the sky now, because I know that comet, what was it? Neowise is out now, and it's making a big splash, even though it's a little bit low for us. It's making a big splash around here, a lot better than Atlas that like got chunked up and disappeared and did nothing, was a big flat tire.
Yep.
And then what was the other one? The Simon, or what was the one before that? I forget which one. There was one before that was supposed to be a big deal.
It was Atlas. You had Pan Stars.
No, not Pan Stars. There was another one. It started with an S. I forget what it was.
Okay.
But that was supposed to be a big deal. That turned out to be nothing. And this wasn't supposed to be anything, and now it's something.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen again with you, and I'll take a look at what it is. If I got it on, I took a look and see. For those of you guys who don't know, and when I get there, and I'll share my screen real quick.
Dan Janisic says Swan.
Swan, thank you, Janisic. Thank you. I knew you would know it.
Good job,
Swan.
Dan.
Thank you, Danny. Dan is the man that gave me that pier. So thank you, Dan.
Let me show you. Let me share my screen here really quick, because as a matter of fact, I gotta give me this a big like here. I fired up Facebook just so I can do this, but let me share my screen here. Check that bad boy out.
Yep, I saw that picture.
So, and this is in Illinois. And I'm in Illinois, so I'm grabbing this guy as soon as I get a chance. As soon as this guy, because this is at the break of dawn, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I saw, and we're at about the same latitude, you and I.
Yeah.
From what I could gather, that the comet Neowise, at least in New York, the maximum height right now is about 12 degrees in altitude. So, and that's at 5 o'clock in the morning. And
yeah.
So, that's 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. It's going to be at 12 degrees altitude. And it's right actually in between, I think, if I'm looking at this right, it's right in between Gemini and Auriga. And if you want, I'll share a map with you.
Yep, you are ahead.
And I'm actually on share screen already, I think. And there's the map. Okay, so right here is Comet 2020 F3 Neowise. And here's Gemini down here. There's Castor and Pollux. And here's Auriga here. So about, I guess almost all the way to the Auriga, where Theta Auriga is right here. It's pretty close. And if you this is 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. If you take a look at it and the latitude, where's the notes? The apparent data, the true altitude is 12 and a half degrees. Okay, so it's not that high off the horizon. So you're going to have a nice flat area.
I was going to say, I saw TJ Conley did it, and he said he had to go up to the top of a mountain to get enough elevation to get it up where he could get a shot.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
That's dedication.
And he's already in the mountains.
Yeah, he had to go up higher. I think he drove like an hour to get up where he wanted to get a shot, and he got a pretty good shot.
He did. I actually saw it on what was it? I saw it on one of the on the Facebook page somewhere, probably his. But people are getting really good shots of this, and actually, somebody took a shot of it. I believe it was from Illinois as well, and it looks like it may be breaking up. Let's see if I can find it real quick for you. Let me get out of this.
Then I better get a move on then, so I can try to get that guy.
Well, and that's the thing. I want to get out and get it. I just haven't had the time. So I'm gonna be ticked because I'm probably not gonna get out to get it before it's either disintegrated or out of my viewing area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a picture that they were talking. This is a picture that they were talking about. Maybe it's this one, but
where they think it's breaking apart.
Yeah, there's like a see how like it looks like the tail is splitting on two sides and it's darker in the middle. That they're saying that may be signs of a breakup. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
So
it's an astro divorce.
Yeah, well, they're splitting up. Well, we'll see. They may come back together. It may get cold enough. Mark, so yeah, Dan, you're the guy that bought new equipment during Neowise.
There's clouds.
Oh my God! You know. Hey, listen. I got it, and the clouds were here before I got it. So let's get rid of this. And let's go back to the camera. And there
you go.
So I got a new toy.
Yeah.
I did. So
you gonna dive in?
I guess I'll show it to you.
I'll give you the Captain.
We'll do a live unboxing. Semi. Because I already opened it up a little bit. This is the Skywatcher 150 PDS. Come back a little bit. There you go, so you can see it.
There you go. Now you can focus.
Okay. So it's a 6-inch Newtonian, and they did a couple of things to it. This you can't get in the United States. You have to get it from outside. So this came from Lieferschein, I don't know, somewhere in Germany. And so what they did a couple of things that are different. So they sell a 150 PL here, and it's really not really great for astrophotography. What they did with the PDS was they actually moved the mirror up a little bit. Okay, so it made it a lot more accessible for DSLRs to come into focus. Okay, now doesn't mean much. They also put a lot better of a focuser on here. They put a dual stage focuser on here, dual speed.
Okay.
The PL and the P only comes with a single speed. Okay, and on top of that, if I remember right, if what he was telling me was true, and it's not true. Oh, yes, it is. It's threaded on the inside here.
Okay.
So you could actually unscrew. Oh, I got to unlock this, but you got to God damn it. This is tight. You unscrew this guy.
Yeah.
And you could kind of put in your filters or whatever inside. So that is a really, really, really cool thing. So it only gives me about 250 millimeters of focal length more. I'm sorry, 350 millimeters focal length.
Okay.
Than the 80AD. But I'm interested to see, because I'm going to get all the other stuff to go with this. I'm getting the rest of the stuff tomorrow. I'm going to get the EAF and off-axis guider and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm going to throw it on. I'm going to get the coma corrector as well. That's coming tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get some nice. Well, it'll be double the strength of what I got in the other one. So we'll see. So that's a Skywatcher 150 PDS.
Nice, man. Congrats.
And we'll see. And you know what? It's cheap. It's cheap. It's cheap as hell. So
Newtonians usually are. They're not that. Newtonians usually aren't that expensive, are they?
No, they're not. But I mean, you know what? I thought that, how much do you think this would have costed? You forget shipping. U.S.
Shipping U.S. Maybe a grand.
Maybe a grand, right?
Maybe a grand.
Okay, that's a little high. I wouldn't have said that much, but you know what?
Maybe. But you're talking to Newtonian, so okay, it's fine. Let's go 800. 800.
800. Okay, so 800. 229 pounds. So it turns out to be about $300 US.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. with shipping, this was $360.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me you had to pay a third of it in shipping.
Yeah, I found the last one at Telescope Express. Nobody else has these, so I was able to get it, and I mean, I'm telling you, it is. My friend Minos, who's a really good astrophotographer, has one of these in Greece, and he said that the pictures he gets out of this, he'll put up against anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm hoping to see this. Hopefully, I don't break it. And we'll be all right. So there you go. So that's
before you do.
I'm gonna put it back in here and watch the box fall off the table. And then tomorrow, that's gonna be my project tomorrow.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing you getting that all rigged up and doing a couple of videos on it.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, number one, and I know we were talking about this before, and if you guys haven't seen the Amy Astro video on her Star Maiden telescope, she put together a new Altair Astro scope, and she has a really cool way to kind of make the rig usable for multiple telescopes and keeping the meat of your power and whatever other computers you have still on the hotel. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Amy Astro's Star Maiden video, which is actually pretty good. She talks about it. She did a really good job with it.
Nice. Yeah, see if she can come on sometime.
Yeah, we'll get her. We'll get her. I know I've been talking to Tom Bramwell. He's going to be coming on.
Okay.
He's in the middle of a move. So he's crazy right now. He's going out of control. Tom, for those of you that don't know who Tom Bramwell is, he is the guy in the United States, the head dog, the big cheese of Primaluce Lab in the United States. So he's doing that, and he's moving to Southern California, I think. So he's doing a bunch of stuff. We're gonna have another couple of guys. I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to name drop, but we have stuff in the wings.
Cool.
So we already have Ron. We have Ron Breacher. We had Adam Block. We had TJ Conley come on. We had a whole bunch of people, and they'll all come back on again, I hope. But that's what I got so far.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to to those when we get them. That'll be cool.
Yeah. So hopefully we're gonna start up our special guest schedule again. Probably in I'm hoping August. We're going to see how schedules work out.
Sure.
And what I don't know, you know, I guess we're talking business on the phone while we're here. Probably we could do special guests once a month, probably, I would think, instead of doing week after week after week and run out of guests. So
there is, well, I'm just trying to get my light back here because my light died.
Oh, the Lumen Cube died?
Yeah, the Lumen Cube died. So
oh, I see it. I see it. It's there.
It's back. Come on. There we go. That's a bit better. All right, that's better.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of new scopes, because I guess, you know, because I get this, you know, the latest. I saw Galactic Hunter test it out. This thing, you know, for me, it looks like, you know, I don't know all about this. I mean, it's Delina. This guy, you know, it looks too gimmicky for me, but I've heard, you know, that it does a fairly good job. But yeah, I'm reading it here. The price is $4,000.
Yep.
You know,
and what's the size of the scope?
It's 400. It's 400 millimeter focal length. So it's
right.
an 80. It's an 80. But some of the images that are coming out of this stuff, it doesn't look half bad, you know, and it's portable.
It's $4,000 for an 80.
$4,000, guys.
I'm like, I can get 4 other scopes for that.
Exactly. or one really nice
good one.
Yeah. Look at it. That's like a lot. But from what I know of and I don't know a lot about it because not a lot of people that I know. I don't think I know anybody that has one. I have no idea. I did see the same video that you saw from Galactic Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, 80 millimeter, it does everything though. I mean, it does everything. You don't have to worry about aligning. It'll do everything. It'll plate solve. It'll do everything for you. Super wide field, $4,000.
Yeah, because it does everything. It does like live stacking and all that stuff. All you got to do is, and it runs off of a phone app.
Yep.
You know, so it's really cool, but I'm not sure if it's truly ready for. I mean, I guess it's out on the market. People are buying it. It's ready for prime time, but I don't know if it's ready for me or I'm ready for it.
No, I'm not ready for it. I haven't even broke my solar. You know,
solar
I haven't gotten up to the point where spending, you know, what $2,500 to $4,500 on a scope that sees 1 star. I just can't. I can't justify it. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
No,
I'll go on my white light, or you know what? I'll spend $1,000 and buy a quark, and do that. You know what I mean? I'll do that before I sit there and spend, you know, $4,000 on a nice Lunt, or Daystar or whatever you got out there. But it's just trying, and then the solar people are gonna like shoot me for saying this, and I understand. But
well,
I don't know.
I think that's a scope made for the guy with a silver spoon that, you know, I want to get into Astro Daddy. Go buy me this because it does everything for me.
It does everything for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, that is the scope for the person that has everything.
It is. It absolutely.
Totally. You know what? I got a place. You know what? I got a place upstate. I'll set it up, and I'll throw it in an observatory, and I'll come down south, and I'll watch my scope from up north.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dial into it over your phone over a VPN.
That's it. I'll dial in, and that's it. You know, I'll get like the old what is it? The old War Games phone with the phone. You know, my 1200 baud modem. For those of you guys who know what that is.
Here, you know, I guess they're really touting right now for summer. Aquila, the constellation. There's quite a bit of stuff out there. So if you guys have astronomy, check it out. You know, it's probably going to be coming to you pretty soon because I just got mine. If you haven't gotten it already, there's some really nice, but they're high magnitude. So you really, it's going to take some time to pull these in with this high magnitude. but there's some really nice stuff in here. One thing that I looked at here and I was like, okay, if before I die, maybe I will be able to have an observatory and get one of these.
Get one of what?
Get one of these. They
that's a plane
series
that we were talking about. Yeah.
You know, the direct drive.
Entry level 10 grand.
Starting out at 10 grand.
Hey, you know what? Again, those are awesome pieces of machine. I've seen them. I've looked through them. They're ridiculous. You know, the pictures that you get out of them are awesome. I've done visual from them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I haven't. That's a lie. That's a lie. They don't do them in visual anymor. It's just photography.
But this mount, it does alt as and equatorial.
Yeah.
You can do both. Alt as and equatorial, and there's zero backlash because it has this direct drive. It's got, you know, these active encoders.
Yep.
But good man, that's retirement.
Well, then you got to spend that much on the observatory just to protect the damn
Just
thing.
to put it in there, exactly.
Yeah. And the alarm and everything.
Yeah, right. You have to hire an armed guard to keep watch on that thing.
It's out of control.
It is, because I was actually there's a local company here, because astrophysics is just not too far from me, but also what's here in Illinois is PeerTech.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Don't they have those collapsible piers?
They do. They have collapsible piers, and they have these really cool roll-off roof observatories.
Yep.
You know, but so I got a price, you know, for one of their smallest, 13 grand.
But that's everything. That's everything included.
Yeah, pretty much everything included.
Plans, right?
Yeah.
You can buy the plans from them.
Yeah, but this is I don't know. It says this one was pretty crazy.
Maybe I know SkyShed. You can buy the plans for like $100.
Yeah, this was now these you can't buy. This is just straight. If I show you here, I'm gonna get to my show off these roll-off roofs. It's these telestations, and I'll show you my screen here.
Well, you got.
And here you go.
Oh, there you go.
And,
the telestations. Yeah.
Yeah, the smallest one here, the telestation 2, and this one is actually easier to if you ever move, to pack up and, you know, and take it apart and to move if you move into a new area or anything like that, so you can take it with you. Some of these other ones are more permanent. But yeah, even for this small one, this was like 13 grand. So yeah, if I'm gonna end up doing this plane, you know, this plane wave, it's gonna have to go with something like this. So
absolutely. If you get the plane wave, you're buying one of those.
You know, so I'm shelling.
So say, Eric, if you get that, you're gonna have to make sure there's room for a bed because you might end up divorced.
Right. You need a warm room really bad. You know?
Oh my gosh! What did you do with our retirement fund? You did what?
George Lutch said the Stellina is good for outreach, but not for serious AP work. Mark said you better play the Powerball. George is back saying, I got my astronomy mag today. I'm just letting it sit 24 hours to kill off the COVID. And George said, go for the Telestation 15. It has a jacuzzi.
Well, then I think my wife will be okay with it because it's got the jacuzzi in there.
Yeah. Cool. You got to have that in the warm room, though. You don't want any dew on the lens.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty humid in there.
Goodness.
Aye.
But that's some money, man. That's that's exactly right. That's for the person that already has everything.
Yeah.
I want to find myself an Astro Daddy.
Well, there is an Astro Dad, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we've kind of joked. We've kind of joked here because I'm unemployed right now and just kind of taking gig work as I can get it. With this whole COVID thing, my industry's been decimated. So we've been joking. My wife's been making face masks. We joke about her being my Splenda mama. She's sweet, but not that sweet.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's been a blessing. She's done really well with that business, and it's been doing good for her, and it's kind of helped our bottom line a little bit, helped keep us afloat. But
anything you can do, bro.
That's going to be the name of the game. Unfortunately for me, it's the next year to year and a half. Just kind of trying to find little things here and there to keep some revenue moving. Because my main background, because most people on here don't know me, I did events. So, my entire career is decimated and on the verge of not being able to really come back, if ever fully. So it's one of those things that we're just kind of working through as part of this whole COVID is kind of coming to the realization it might be 2 years before I start seeing a ballroom again.
Yeah, it may be because, I don't know. Nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah. But, so luckily my wife has been able to find an avenue to get some revenue into the bank account for us, and though she's tired as all get out, she's at least having some fun with it. So, and she's still allowed me to play with the telescopes and get out and do a little bit of the imaging and things like that to kind of keep my head from being too internalized.
I don't blame you. It's crazy.
That's all. Kudos to your wife, man. But yeah, I just don't, man. This whole thing, like I said, has been devastating.
Yeah.
It's absolutely been devastating on so many levels, man.
Well, we surpassed everything that New York did. We just passed like 110,000 cases here in Arizona.
Arizona, Texas, Florida, man. Those are the big three right now.
Yep.
It's crazy. There's something like I want to say there's 19 states on the New York State no, you're not allowed to come in zone.
Well, it's a guaranteed 14-day quarantine, and if you don't, you get fined fairly heavily for the duration of your stay.
Yeah, and then you had some jerk that came into Westchester County for a graduation ceremony and infected 36 people.
Yep. I want to say it was down in Florida. Somebody threw a birthday party and said, "Oh, it'll be fine. Yep. It's all family." 30 people are now sick.
The whole family got it.
Yep.
It's not funny, but
No.
it's just it's really out of control that that cases have just gone up because some of the messaging out there is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And, some people are doing the right thing, some people aren't. We're doing a lot more testing, but the hospitalizations are going through the roof in some areas, especially Arizona, Florida, Texas. You guys are all now where we were back in April.
Yep.
And there used to be this thought that, the hotter states or the lower,
it's going to go away.
Wouldn't affect. Yeah, no.
Yeah. It's a good thought. It's a good theory.
COVID doesn't care about the weather.
Yep.
No, it does not.
It doesn't care. And as a matter of fact, it might like the cold a little bit better, but we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. We'll find out in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It's something, and and I'm what is it? Next week, baseball season starts. And it's finally going to kick off next week. I don't know.
A lot of people in the MLB Players Association are kind of taking a walk and saying, you know what, you don't have to pay me, but I'm staying home.
I'm staying at home. Yeah.
Was it
colleges canceling their seasons, their fall sports seasons? Because of all this and stuff. So
was it the hockey that said we're not going to go play?
Yeah.
The owners and teams said yes, and then they started putting so many stipulations on it. The players went, "We're not
they said
play.
the hell with it." Yep.
Screw you.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a while. The next big sport that I could think about with social distancing probably is going to be like table tennis.
No, you know what? It's gonna be the esports.
The what?
Yeah,
the esports.
The gaming, the gamers. Yeah.
It's guys like us sitting in front of a computer with a webcam.
We're going to get killed by those Chinese and Japanese guys. We're going to get destroyed. That's all they do. You see those videos in China and Japan?
Yeah.
Man, they're like 5.5 days playing these video games.
Yep.
I know.
Crazy. And they're good, though, but they are
Hold
good. There you go. Dude, they're awesome, though. They're great. They're so good at these kids. I'm watching these guys put off these moves, and, like, I'm a big hockey fan. I like playing hockey, and I think I'm good, but I actually suck. So I'm sitting there and I'm playing, and I would get destroyed by, like, a friend of mine, like 37-2. And I'm like, dude, they're like doing like these moves. I'm like, how'd you do that? Oh, I just hit the buttons.
I got a buddy. He's got a 10-year-old son, and he's trying to get me to do a couple of the online games, like Clash of Clans type stuff, a couple years ago.
Sure.
I went on for 5 minutes and got destroyed, and I'm like, screw this. This is ridiculous. I'm getting destroyed by kids.
Yeah.
I'm not built for this. I'm out.
See,
I did Call of Duty when it first came out.
I'm all for bonding with my kids, like my 10-year-old. But when he wants to go off and he wants to play Fortnite, I'm like, forget it. I'm not out. I quit. There are certain things, son, that you are just better than me.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that.
And I'm good with that.
Yep.
You got you got those skills. You got your hand-eye coordination is just light years ahead of mine.
All I know is that I bought the last. I don't know if you guys are gamers or not. I'm a gamer. I'm a semi-gamer. The Last of Us is a game that came out, I guess, about 6 years ago.
Yes.
And probably hands down the best game with an awesome storyline that I've ever played. And I've been playing video games since the Atari 2600.
Dude.
So I've been playing video games since the advent of video games. I'm that old. I'm old as dirt. But but I'm telling you,
that game grabbed me.
What's that?
The first 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
The game grabbed me. I had to have my wife sit down and say, honey, you've got to watch just the first. You don't have to play it. Just watch the first 10 minutes.
It's awesome.
Nuts.
And The Last of Us 2, who we've been waiting on for, they mentioned it about 4 years ago that it was coming out. It finally came out in June.
Yeah.
And I bought it. Now it's what? July what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had it for about 3 weeks. Downloaded on my PlayStation. I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah.
I know people that have cleared it, and like it came out like the 20th of June. I know people that have cleared it by the 25th of June.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are nuts, man. I'm sorry. These people, they just go through video games like I go through like socks.
Like when I was in high school, I had a buddy that he was a huge gamer. Every time a new game system, his parents bought it for him.
Yep.
And we called it the trifecta because I had really good vision, but I didn't have any hand-eye coordination. So I would see the little color differences and go, it's right there. You got to hit that one little square right there. And then our other buddy was a statistician, so the guy could take and pick apart a riddle or a puzzle like nothing. And then the guy that got the gaming station just had two thumbs that moved completely without having to think. So, I mean, the three of us, we'd sit down, we'd destroy a game that's supposed to take 30, 40 hours, like 11th hour.
Yeah.
And we'd
11th hour is an awesome game.
Oh, yeah. We'd sit there, we'd play that thing, he'd get it, we'd load it on the computer Friday night, and by Saturday, we had destroyed it.
And I'm going to go, I guess this is the tangent area.
Here we are.
Tangent.
So there is a game out there called Myst.
Yep.
And if you don't know,
I remember that PC.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome game. Really, really hard. No instructions.
Yep. No cheat books.
It was point and click and read and figure out puzzles. That's all it was.
Yep.
But let me tell you something. I mean, when I first played that game, I want to say, I don't know, mid-'80s, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I played it, and it took me probably, the first time I played it, I didn't clear it. It came out in the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then I finally cleared it. And it took me about 3 weeks to clear it. I played it the other day, just to play it again.
Yeah.
I cleared it in about 40 minutes.
It's amazing how much they've come, right?
I remembered all the puzzles. I remembered them all. But it's just because you played them for so long and so much through. It's just, you remember the end. It's like watching a movie so many times. You remember the words.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
What was that?
Princess Bride. Do not think that word means what you think it means.
My name is Antonio Montoya.
You killed my father.
My father.
Prepare to die.
I love that
movie.
The movie's great.
Anybody want a peanut?
Physics, stop raining.
What a great movie. I love that movie.
Squad. You are the Brute Squad.
My buddy, the same guy that I did all the gaming with, introduced me to that video. I think we destroyed 3 VHSs because his mom and dad had to keep buying it on VHS because we wore the tapes out.
Oh,
Nice. Yeah, you got to learn how to splice those things, man.
Well, splicing wasn't the problem. The thing went through so many times, it started to demagnetize.
That's why you got to get the tracker.
Yeah.
The tracker thing that moves the lines up and down.
Yep.
Mark Ellis says, "Do you remember Zork?" Of course, I remember Zork. You may not remember Zork. Zork was one of the first video games that came out, and it was words only, no graphics.
Yeah. See, most of the stuff you guys are talking about. I guess we were doing 11th Hour, Lighthouse.
Yep. Well, there was the seventh guest first.
Seventh
if
guest.
I remember right.
Yep. Seventh guest, 11th Hour. So it was all those. It was the role-playing puzzle games, and that's what he ate up. And then as soon as he got into the PlayStations and stuff like that, it was the same type of stuff. It was following those long storyline games, and I just didn't have the patience for it. So I'd go hang out with him and help out.
I used to fire up I had like a 2400 baud modem and get online and play those the BB.
24. That was fast, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
No.
I had like a Tandy RL. That was like my first computer with a Tandy RL. 5.25-inch floppy disk.
Nice.
And I had the 1200 the 2400 baud modem, and I would get online. Take me forever to get online, and you log into those little bulletin board.
Yep.
Yeah.
BBS.
The BBS.
Yep.
Yeah. And you would just start playing these games, and all this is just typing.
Yep.
You're like, you were at a door. Okay, open door.
Well,
Syntax error. Don't understand open.
Yeah.
Well, my first computer was a TI-83.
Texas Instruments.
Yep, the old TI.
My first one was the Timex Sinclair. Yeah, go look it up.
I had no idea Timex made computers.
Timex Sinclair 1000.
Oh man! Oh, that's right. I do. You know what? Now I think about it.
It had like 2 meg of RAM in it. I think it might have been like 512 kilobytes or something like that. It was something ridiculous, and the computer was like this big,
Mm-hmm.
and the keyboard was push buttons. There wasn't buttons. It was like a flat keyboard.
Okay.
And it came with a cassette tape drive.
Yep.
That you actually had to put the tape in and play it and wait for the tape to load up the entire program for like a half an hour.
Well, because that
before you were able to even just start even seeing the beginning logo.
Well, because that's what the TI was based on, wasn't it?
Yep, same exact thing.
Yeah, because it was the old cartridge, and you get partway in it, and then it would lock up, so you had to pull it out.
There was another TI that actually had a cartridge bay in the keyboard.
Yep. Well, that's what I had.
Is that the same one?
The TI-83, I think it was.
And then when Atari came out with that first real computer, the Atari 800 XL, I think it was.
Yep.
If I remember right, that was awesome. That was like great.
So I just remember when my dad upgraded and I got the cartridge style, he got one that was the predecessor to the AT. That had the 5.25-inch floppy in it.
Yep.
And there was no programs. So if you wanted the software, you had to get a physical pile of paper that somebody compiled the code, and you had to sit there and type it in.
Yep.
And remember to hit save.
There used to be a magazine out there called Compute and Antic.
Yep.
2 of them. And every week or every month, they would have a game in the computer magazine that you would type up, just like you were talking about.
Yep, type the code.
You would type the entire code for days and days, and you're drooling, and you're looking at the computer. You're doing like 10 go to 20 if t equals 1. And you're doing all this stuff, and you're typing, and you got counts, and you go. 3 days later, you said, "Oh man, we're done. Joe, Steve, Bob, come on over. I just typed this thing for days. Let's go play it. We're gonna go play it." And you go, boom, debug error. Somewhere, somehow, you put an extra comma on one line in something that's 40,000 lines of code, and you got to go find it.
Yep. You got to go find it.
And you got to go find it. So what do? You go back to the magazine. And you read, and you read, and you read, and then what do? You say, "Fuck." You say, "To hell with it," and you throw the magazine out, and you never play it.
Well, and by the time you finally get it all coded, then the next magazine's out, and you're, "Oh crap, I got to code the next one."
I think out of all the ones that I probably typed in probably about 20, 25 programs out of my life, and I think I probably got 1 or 2 to work.
I just remember trying to do some of the programming, and I was fairly young at that point. It was a game. It was like a turtle game where you chase an apple or something like that.
Chase that turtle, chasing an apple.
It was very rudimentary, and but I programmed it. It took me 20 tries before I could finally get it to get through the first section, because I kept having code errors. I didn't have things.
Oh, it's horrible.
And my dad would sit there. He's like, "I don't have time for this. Keep reading."
It's just horrible. So then I think that the first game that I bought, I think, was probably from what I think George was saying, the Zork games were the first ones. There was actually another, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy came out with a game, and that was the same thing. It was only words. It was just words. And what was that?
The answer is 42.
Oh,
it is. That's what you get when you multiply 6 by 9.
That's the meaning of life. It is 42.
I have a shirt like that. It says life, the universe, and everything, 42 in the middle.
42.
Yep. And on the back it says, "So long and thanks for all the fish."
Yep.
Let me tell you something. Comedy and sci-fi, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, hands down. That's the best. It's the best.
Absolute best, man.
One of the companies,
Adams, God bless him, but he was really, really good. One
of the companies that I worked for in like 2010 to 2014 range, I was actually the supervisor of Area 42.
Nice.
It was just me and him, but number 2 had a negative connotation, so I took the supervisor of Area 42.
So George said Spaceballs.
They're supposed to be remaking that. I keep waiting.
Don't remake. You can't remake.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, the problem is they can't use the same humor that they did back then.
Because
now it's not PC.
Drew India.
She doesn't look Drewish.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just saying that now. Oh my God, forget
It's
about it.
me.
I
You
see.
go from fuck to blow.
I see your Schwartz is bigger than mine.
I'm surrounded by assholes. No. Let's see. Everyone's going nuts on teletype machines and ticker tape programming, and I guess we're bringing out all the older people.
Oh gosh.
Douglas Adams was great. Mark said, "Don't panic." Yeah, but yeah. So that, I guess that's the side.
Only one man ever gets me the raspberry.
What's that?
The raspberry. Lone Star.
I was thinking of I'm sorry. I was thinking of Hitchhikers.
Oh, you went over my helmet?
Oh, she gives great helmet. That's like let you know what? Let's let them try and remake like History of the World Part 1.
Yeah.
Oh, Monty Python. Oh my gosh.
Well, was that mine? That wasn't Monty Python. That was Mel Brooks.
No.
Yeah,
That was Mel
Brooks.
Brooks. That was Mel Brooks. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
Any Monty Python, try and remake that.
well,
Yeah.
but any Mel Brooks could never pass in this day and age, even coming from who did it. They could never get away, especially in today, how snowflakish so many people have gotten.
I mean, it makes me want to cry.
Yep.
It makes me want to cry. You know, it's not even the fact that like that stuff was better than what's out now. It's just the fact that we can't because somebody's going to get offended by something.
Yep.
I mean, there's I don't know if you ever watched. There was a show out there called The Newsroom, and it was a short-lived.
Oh man, is that the one with Jeff Daniels on HBO?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yep.
love that show, and I was so ticked when they took it off the air.
Yeah, so was I. Really, really, really good. And there was a speech that he gave, and it's gone viral on YouTube on how America isn't that great.
Yeah, the very first episode. Yeah.
Yep. When he's sitting in the audience, when he's at the panel of the
college. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. That speech, there's only two speeches that brought a tear to my eye. His was one, and the other one was Rocky Balboa talking to his kid in the latest Rocky movie. When he says, nobody hits as hard as life hits.
Yeah.
You ever see that one? That is a really, really, really good speech. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times you get hit. It's about how many times you get hit and still get up and keep on fighting, or something like that. But yeah. he goes crazy. But it's really forget Gary Citro. Yeah, forget Blazing Saddles. Yeah, we all know about Blazing Saddles. That's not gonna happen. You may as well remake All in the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
No, unfortunately. That was one of my dad and I's favorite movies. Every time Mom would leave out of town, that's what he and I'd watch. We just keep playing.
I love Blazing Saddles. I thought that was great.
The campfire scene, my dad and I'd reenact that every time Mom left.
Rape, murder, robbery, and rape. I said rape twice. I like rape.
Mongo don't need no beans, boss.
Candy Grams Mongo.
Oh gosh.
Edith, what no annoying don't make me Mark, I'm telling you, Mark, you're gonna make me bring out my Edith voice. Here's the beer, Archie. I'm going crazy. This is getting late. I think we're going crazy.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that's good enough for the tangent.
Well, there's half the show.
my brother's starting bringing out the Rocky now. He's like,
oh my goodness.
Oh man.
He's like, you know what cojones is? That's Spanish for Italian nuts. Oh God, I can't. Anyway, what do you want to do next week? What do you want to do next week?
Well, let's continue. I think we'll talk about it, but I'm thinking do a little bit, go back to novice, and as far as getting started, maybe talk a little bit about, when you're getting started. Some people, with DSLRs, there's certain rules with DSLRs. Like it's the 600 rule.
Is that the one where you throw it over your shoulder if it's not over $600? It's garbage.
Isn't it the 500 rule?
Yeah,
that is 500 rule. I just kind of jumped the gun on that one. I thought it was fun. Sorry, Dylan.
Got now 600, or stuff like that. Like if you don't have a huge budget, but you want to get into this hobby, but you got a Canon or a Nikon. What can you do with it? What are the things you can do with it? So maybe we talk a little bit about that.
Mark Ellis said, "What about flats, darks, bias, and such?"
Yeah, we're talking about calibration frames. We can definitely talk about those because even when you're getting started, you need to know about the calibration frames. Absolutely.
George says inflation. Don't even talk to me about creating money out of debt. Don't even talk to me about that. Dark flats. So we're getting a bunch of comments out here that are good topics. So I think you're right. So we could do DSLRs. We could even talk about different types of scopes and what they how they change the light and how it refracts and reflects and stuff. Like we could do that too.
We can do a little bit of that. I'm probably gonna hop on even the cloudy nights a little bit and take a look because there's lots of good stuff out there on cloudy nights about things that people are trying to figure out or talk or big topics that are going on right now.
Yeah. So we'll come around and we'll figure out something for next week, and I'll put a post in probably Monday.
Yeah.
About what we're gonna do, and you and I and Jason will get together and we'll talk about what we're gonna talk about.
Exactly.
So I think that's about it. What is it? It's almost 11 o'clock. I think that's about it for tonight. We went on a 25-minute crazy talk for a while. But it's all good.
It's all fun.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. A lot of people get a kick out of it. We got more comments in the last 25 minutes than we did the entire show. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys got a little bit out of it, even if it was just Blazing Saddles and All in the Family. But thank you so much, and we enjoy spending the evening and Wednesday evenings with you. So I guess that's about it, right? I think we're good.
So clear skies, everybody. Go out there and image.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week. And remember, if you like if you don't like us, if you like us, if you think of anything, just subscribe to us. Let us know what you're doing, just so you can get those notifications on when we go live next and whatever. We're doing postings all the time, and we're talking about to other people on a lot of the other Facebook groups. So just remember to subscribe so you know that what's going on with AstroWorld TV. Because, just so you know, and I didn't tell you this yet. I told Jason this. Over the past week, and right now, let's get an updated number here, just so we know. In the past week, we've gotten 96 subscribers on YouTube.
And that's thanks to you guys spreading the word. It's really important that you help us do that so we can continue to grow the foundation and deliver what you guys are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, and please comment on our site. We don't know if we're doing a good job unless you let us know.
Absolutely. We need the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's the guy in the blue shirt's an idiot, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But just let us know what we could do to actually improve the product that we're giving you guys. And we'll put it into the show, and that's how we work. So I mean, that's really it. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Clear
Thanks,
skies.
Guys, have a good night. Take care, and I will see you next Wednesday. And remember, keep imaging, keep educating, and keep having fun. And we'll see you on AstroWorld TV next week. Have a good night.
Clear skies, everybody.
Take care.
Nice. Great job, guys.